Um, Hope, are you in control?
Yes. Mhm.
Are you in control, or is?
No, Nate was in control. She's always in control.
Are we ready to start?
Mhm.
Okay, hi, Neva. Boy, the Lone Ranger there. All right. Welcome everybody to the special edition of the Rye Town Council. Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United
of the United
States
States of America,
and
to the republic
for
which it stands,
one
nation,
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 under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jill Axelrod,
Here.
Councilperson Lindsay Ann Jackson, Councilperson Pamela Jaffe,
Here.
Councilperson Thomas Nardi,
Here.
and Supervisor Gary Zuckerman.
Here. We have, the special meeting was called basically to handle some of the items we couldn't handle at our last regular meeting. And I'm going to go a little bit out of turn and go to the to item 3.7, the tax cert, Pedro and Cindy Vilca of 51 Hawthorne Avenue. Dan, you handled this, and do you want to just go over this? Tell us
Sure.
what this is about, because the numbers were a little bit, looking at it on the surface, the numbers look a little bit weird. So just tell us what it's about.
Yeah, what happened with this property was there was a sale, and it was an arm's length sale. The property owner tried to market the property for a considerable amount of time. The number seems low, but the inside of the house was basically completely torn apart. It was, would have taken at least $100,000 to get it into livable condition. There was a separate lot, and why it was two different lots and assessed as two different lots was just a matter of history, I imagine. When the property was sold and the sale price got to the assessor and got to the reval company, they basically took that number and plugged it into the current assessed valuation of the house and the separate lot. They allocated it between the two. So since we had an established value, we just took that value and trended backwards to the open years for the filing, 5% and 5%, just to kind of take into consideration 5% market appreciation. So we trended backwards. It didn't really matter, and Chris Bradbury had the same question. The way we broke down the allocation for purposes of the settlement, we allocated 0 to the separate lot. It made it look weird, but that's all it does. It's just for prior years. It doesn't matter, because currently the assessed value for the house and lot and the assessed value for the separate lot total the amount of the sale price. So it's really, we could have allocated it anyway. We just did it that way for math to make it simpler. It doesn't affect the current assessed valuation of the property going forward, which is all that really matters. It's just an allocation that way for purposes of settlement.
Right, so this is the settlement is for years 16, 17, and 18. So it doesn't affect 19 and 20, nor will it affect 21.
Right.
Correct, okay. Are there any questions by any of the council members on this?
Yeah, I think I know that house. If I remember correctly, it was an elderly woman that originally owned it, and she had a son that was also, I would say, middle-aged. I think he had needs. And from what I understand, that house was a disaster inside.
You're right. I mean,
Mhm.
what happened was the tax cert petitioner, who ended up being the seller, thought they could subdivide the separate lot and sell it off separately to have a
Yeah,
house built on it. They realized at some point that they needed variance. I forget what
Yeah.
the land use issues were, but it ended up that they couldn't do that. And then they were stuck with the house and the lot, and the house was unfinished and uninhabitable.
yeah. The house next door also has a separate building lot. And that one time that owner was trying to separate the lots, and I don't know what happened, and that fell through. So I think it's because it's the two empty lots that are close to each other. I think that's where the problem is.
Yeah, and it might be the worst location in the entire town for a house. I would never want
Yeah.
to live where this house
Mm.
is located.
Yeah, I know they did a nice job fixing it up because that place was really run down. I don't know whatever happened to the woman and her son, but I know that the plumbing inside was absolutely not even working. And it was a real sad situation. I found out about it afterwards. After the place had sold, I found out what happened.
Yeah, I could have used it, Tom, because I was getting the third degree from Chris Bradbury as to why it went so low. And should I look behind, why the sale was so low? And then finally I sent him some photographs of the interior of the house, and then he stopped bothering me.
From what I understand from one of the neighbors is that they were actually using buckets for the toilet and then dumping it outside is what they were doing, because the plumbing did not work in the house at all.
Well, they actually.
Do we have a motion?
Okay,
Basic,
so move. I so move. And move on from this conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. Second that.
Hey, listen, I'm a plumber. I'm used to this
Aye.
stuff.
Yeah, for us,
Moving on. Jill, say aye.
all right. At the toilet, at the sound of the toilet being used, buckets being used for a toilet, Pam wants to move on. You get the motion.
Pam, you've never been on a job site, have you?
Tommy,
Tommy, I didn't have a bathroom in my house for like a month. I don't want to relive this nonsense.
Tommy,
Please.
Tommy, you talk anymore, we're gonna have to reduce this value
Yeah,
further.
we have to give him another.
You're gonna lose quorum soon.
Hope, you have a recorded motion in a second?
I think Councilperson Jaffe made the motion and Councilperson Axelrod seconded.
We were ready.
All in favor?
Aye.
None
Yay.
opposed? Good, thank you. Thanks, Dan. Thank you for the explanation.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thanks for the
Thank you,
long
Danny.
trip to the meeting.
Okay. Thanks for taking me out of order.
All right. Let's go back to the top of the agenda. We have a series of resolutions on homestead-based proportions. And Denise is not at this meeting. Basically, Jeff, do you want to, I think we go through this every year, establishing the homestead and non-homestead proportions for each of our school districts and each of our villages, because we are we're a homestead community. Do you want to go any further than that, Jeff, or?
You to describe what a homestead and a non-homestead property is. You're talking about residential versus commercial,
Yes.
essentially. And the two, there's assessed value for both, categories, and they have to be adjusted, every year based on numbers we get from the state, that equalize the values, that help smooth out differences and help keep the strength of our property tax base. And very often burdens are shifted between homestead and non-homestead. I don't know if I want to go in beyond that, but basically this is a function that we have to do every year to keep our property tax base in balance and strong. So we have to adopt these.
Right, and each of the communities, each of the school districts, villages, and the town have a different proportion. And you can see them if you go through each resolution. I'm just looking at the first one. The town is a homestead base of 68% and non-homestead of 31. That's on the entire town. And the village of Portchester, as an example, I'm just scrolling down. The village of Portchester's base is homestead 53 and non-homestead 46. So, you know, that
It's a way to look at, a way to look at this. A way to look at
let me
this.
finish it.
Yeah.
So you can see that Portchester, as a percentage, their non-homestead is a higher rate than the town in general. And looking at Blind Brook, for example, if I can click it. Yep. My clickers. Okay, there it is. Computer slow today. And the Blind Brook School District has a homestead base of 85%, almost 86%, and a non-homestead base of only 14%. That's because in the Blind Brook School District, it's virtually all homeowners, and the only commercials that are there are, for example, places like Arrowwood and the Blind Brook Club and Rexon. So they vary. Obviously, the proportions vary from village to village, from school district to school district, and for the town as a whole. So with that explanation, I think it's a better.
Gary,
Yes, Jeff.
Gary, let me just, one last thing. I mean, because we just did a tax cert case, right? So it's helpful to look at our tax cert cases going forward as commercial or residential, right? So most of our tax cert cases that we bring to you are commercial. And when we do a tax cert case and, you know, if we lower someone's property taxes or make a settlement, that doesn't necessarily mean that the residential property tax rates or levy is going to go up. It does mean, though, that it places added stress among all those left in the commercial class, right? So
yeah,
that's context.
Each class bears the tax burden only of its own class. So if a homeowner gets a reduction in through the grievance process, that would affect only the taxes on the rest of the homeowners, not the commercials. And conversely, and more importantly, when a commercial property gets a tax reduction, a Wright Town Hilton or a Blind Brook Club or any of the others, that affects only the commercial class. It does not affect the tax burden on the homeowner class. Okay, so let's take each one individually. So we have an individual vote. I think that's the best process. And I'm going to ask one of you to move and to second for each one. Who wants to volunteer?
I'll volunteer.
Okay,
No,
Jill.
well, Pam, do you have a
Jill said it
preference?
first. I'll
Jill,
Click,
Jill,
okay.
you move. Jill, you move.
So moved.
Pam,
Okay,
You
Mhm.
second for each one, okay?
okay.
Okay. First one is Town of Rye Homestead Base. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next one is home base proportions for the village of Portchester. Motion and a second, please.
I'll make the motion.
I will second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All in favor, none opposed. The third one is homestead-based proportions for the village of Rybrook. Motion and a second.
So
Yes,
moved.
Second.
thank you. All in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
none opposed. The next one is homestead-based proportions for the Portchester School District. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And homestead-based proportions for Rye Neck School.
So
All in
moved. Oh, I'm
Pardon
sorry.
me.
did
Motion and a second, please. I'm moving too fast.
I- So moved.
And seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Hope, did I get them all?
Yes, you did. Yeah, I was just finishing off the last, yes, okay. Good.
Okay, I don't want to miss any because
No,
somebody's gonna come
this is
back.
very important.
Yeah,
I
because
have to notify everyone.
especially now, because the villages are completing their budget and they have to know what proportion for their tax rate. Because they have to pass the budget at the end of March. And then comes the school, which have to pass that budget in May.
Mhm. And Nick needs the town for next month, it's taxes. He has to
That's
start working on that in another week or
Right.
so.
all right.
Okay.
The next and last resolution is a redo. Last meeting, we reappointed Mark Klapper to the Board of Assessment Review. We followed a procedure that we found out was the reverse of the procedure we should have followed, which is that Rybrook goes first, and then we make the final appointment. And then we didn't do it that way, so we have a new resolution for today, Mark Klapper, to be reappointed to the Assessment Board of Review. Hope, did you, when you get a chance, would you append the letter, the memo that I sent to Rybrook and their resolution
Sure.
as part of the package, please?
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
And you failed to mention though, first you make the recommendation to the village. And then
Right.
upon your recommendation, they pass a resolution, they adopt a resolution whether they are taking your recommendation.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Right. That's why I'm
Okay.
asking you to append
Yeah,
my
so I'll do that.
recommendation
Mhm.
and their resolution. The procedure we did follow is incorrectly, is that we passed the resolution first and then they were going to pass the resolution. But
Right,
we
which they did the next night.
We're all okay now.
Yes, we're fine now.
We're straight. So we're redoing it.
Right.
So may I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Come on, Tommy.
Second. I'll second it.
Thank you, Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Thank you.
Tommy, you
And
never
For that
know when that was.
confusion.
or was that a quick enough meeting?
That was
Yeah.
great.
There's a
I
lot
gotta
of
go
it.
to I gotta go to Orangeburg now.
Oh,
Tommy, you're looking much better, by the way.
I feel a lot better.
good.
Even though I had to work with 5-inch cast iron today, I still feel a lot better.
Mhm.
All right, get those muscles going.
We're
I just
trying.
want to say it's been a delight that listening in on your meeting, guys.
Oh, hi, Debbie.
Hi,
No
everybody.
Debbie's presence too. Debbie, you're not on video.
I know. Well, I'm on my cell phone, so
Okay,
He's present.
all right.
Present.
Okay, so anything
yep.
else?
No, that's it. I just wanted to let you know, moving forward with the court expansion for the next month's meeting. I'm hoping to have 2 local laws drafted by Jeff regarding both the judges and the court clerks.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll get that going. I don't have anything else. Anybody else want to say anything?
No,
Nope.
No,
Okay.
no
no,
need.
most of-
Motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The meeting is
Thank you.
adjourned.
We're gonna-
Thank
Next
you.
regular meeting is March 16th.
Okay.
See you then.
You
See you
there?
then.
Okay, take care.
Thank
Be
you,
well,
Ava.
everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Nate.
Nate.
All right, everybody.
Oh,
Have a
thank
have a
you,
good
Dana, as
evening.
always, yes.
Bye-bye. All right.
Okay, bye now.
Bye all.